Hi everyone, Craig here, Product Manager at Broker Engine. In this short video, I'm going to walk you through in some detail our workflow engine. So by the end of this video, you should have a really deep understanding of the power of what you can automate inside of Broker Engine. And as we go through it, you'll see that we understand. I'm a broker myself. We understand that when you're building out your workflow and you're building out your perfect client journeys, every journey can be slightly different. 80% of the process that your client will go through in getting the loan is roughly the same. Obviously there's always going to be a submitted stage, there's always going to be a formal approval stage, hopefully, and then docs issued, docs returned. So 80% of the process that your deals will go through will be identical. It's that 20% that really hurts you, that keeps you awake at night. This deal's a guarantor loan with a lender that requires non-face-to-face sign-off, for example. This deal, the client lives overseas, and we've got to warn them about how to sign documents abroad and make sure they get extended settlement timeframes. This client's a first home buyer. This one needs a deposit bond. This one's, vacant land, not registered. There's all these little things that you have to remember normally, and hopefully remember, and therefore to deliver a great client experience. If you don't remember it, the client gets a poor outcome, and your fault or not, they get a poor outcome. So our workflow engine recognizes that 80% of your process will be the same for all of your deals, and we want to manage that 20%, those little things that keep you awake at night. All right, so by the end of this video, I hope that you have a deep understanding of our workflow engine, and how it works, all the different options, and how it's going to allow you to, one, build a great client experience at scale, so you can keep putting deals in the top of the funnel, and secondly, avoid errors, and finally, save time by automating as much as you can. All right, let's get straight into it. So at the moment, you're looking at Broker Engine. Obviously, workflow starts by the fact that you can have your, whatever boards and stages you want. So whatever boards and stages make sense in your practice, you can have those. And these are your deals that will sort of flow through the relevant stages. So most people think of workflow as just a Kanban board. So this is a Kanban board, and that's, I guess, the start of the workflow. But what I want to do is jump into settings and into workflow and into workflow templates, like so. And from here, I can see all of my workflow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example of a workflow for settlement. The concept here is that you build out your perfect step-by-step process that you want your clients to go through on settlement. So I'm going to open up my workflow for settlement purchase, and I'm going to walk you through some of the steps involved. So the name of the workflow is called settlement purchase. It triggers when the deal stage enters settlement. So before, when I showed you the Kanban board, you move your deals through the stages. You get to control that board and those stages and the names. And then you get to control, okay, when a card moves into the stage, what's going to happen every time, every time. So trigger this workflow when the deal moves into stage settlement. You can then, I'll come back to trigger conditions in a second, you can then step out exactly the step-by-step that you want to happen every time a deal moves into that stage. So in this example, we're setting clawback dates, we're setting fixed and interest-only expiry dates for future reviews, we're setting the next review date. We're triggering an email here, and if I open up that email template, it's a pretty basic one. Hi John and Mary. There's all the merge fields that you might want to use, like the name of the incoming or outgoing lender, name of the guarantors, or name of the applicants and related parties like solicitors, agents, accountants, and so on. So you can create really, you can put all your email templates into here, so that once the deal moves into that stage, it's going to create that email. I'm going to sort of go into a little bit of detail as we go through here. So a couple of quick ones here. The first one is that personally, I don't like automatic emails just going out to my clients. I want to add a little bit of love. So certainly, make a great default email template. But I want to be able to sort of add a bit of spice. Sorry that lender took a bit longer than expected, or how's the move going, or something like that. Maybe I want to, how's kids soccer on the weekend, whatever it might be. And so the purpose here is that you can, when that email is created, it can either be sent to your Outlook or your Gmail, which is quite a popular solution because a lot of brokers work out of their email. So it can either be just created and sent to you, so you can then forward on from your Outlook or Gmail and then add in there, how's that move going. It can be created in Broker Engine as a draft, so it'll create the email, but it won't be sent. It'll sit there for you to then do edits in Broker Engine and then click send. Finally, it can just be sent directly to the email template recipients, meaning that if you choose that option, it's just going to go directly to, the client, the accountant, the builder, whoever you've added, whoever you selected, and obviously have added on that deal. So that's emails, and so it's going to send an email. It then creates a task, and typically you might have this task assigned to a particular team member, right? So it creates a task to do what I call a settlement checklist, and the team there, that's where they call up and get the repayment details, where do the surplus funds go, whatever the things might be in your checklist. So the task to do a particular checklist, and that can be automatically assigned to the team member on that deal that's responsible for that. After that, it sets a couple more dates, another email, an email to the agent, email to the client with a nice, pretty settlement advice attached. So automatically generated advice with all their first repayment details, when the lender rebate's going to be paid, or things like that. It then archives the loan. It then waits 2 business days. It then sends an email for a post-settlement follow-up. Waits another 1 business day, sends a testimonial request. It then waits 3 business days before the first repayment is due, and then sends an email that the first repayment is due. So that's an example of a pretty basic sort of workflow for settlement. And the concept here is that every deal that moves into settlement is going to get this outcome. They're going to get automatic tasks for your team to do the checklist and so on. They're going to get the automatic emails. No matter how many deals you put into the system, every client is going to get this exact same follow the bouncy ball process. Now, rest assured, I get that this might be a little bit, wow, there's a lot there. There is, and there's more to show you. But we out of the box, when you sign up to Broker Engine, we provide you with a default board, stages, default workflow, which we think will get you about 80% of the way there. You might want to tweak some of the email templates or tweak some of the, who tasks are assigned to, or change the process however you want. You can always just drag and drop to change the process. You can very easily add in new steps here inside the process we already have. But out of the box, we do give you, you're not starting from scratch. So rest assured, out of the box, you do get a really good head start. So that's an example of a settlement workflow. A couple of things I want to show you quickly before I move on is, one, you can always add in new steps. So some of the other steps we have include things like moving stage. So perhaps when a deal, you want to have it so it automatically moves to the next stage. Maybe when documents are received or something like that, it automatically moves to the next stage. Other steps include ones like triggering a Zap. So if you want to trigger a text message or something like that, you can use Zapier for that, or you want to create a contact in your phone, you can use Zapier for that. You can publish a document request via Finance Vault automatically. So consider a new lead comes in, it's created. Hey, let's send out automatically the fact find and documents to be signed by the client. You can do things like assign and unassigned teams. So potentially you might have a structure where this team member or a team manages the deals from formal to settlement, for example, and you can automatically have it that when the deal moves into formal approval, it automatically assigns that team. They get an email to say, hey, you've been assigned a new deal, and they then take over the deal from there. There's just about not really a process you cannot build with this feature. All the way from, there's more delay conditions, so you can do wait for a period of time, business days or days, or you can also do waiting, before or after certain key dates like pre-approval dates or expected lodgement dates and things like that. Pretty much not a process you cannot build. It's all drag and drop, so you just show me there, I show there moving things around and things like that. 2 final things I'll quickly cover to finish out the video. One, it is very flexible, as you've seen here, so you can build any process you like, but you can also build processes including trigger conditions. What does this mean? Trigger this workflow when the deal stage moves into settlement. Great. So any deal that moves into that stage settlement is going to trigger this workflow, but only trigger it if these exist as well. So the concept here is, I want to create a workflow just for, St. George Bank or just for Commonwealth Bank at stage formal approval. Or a good example is, ANZ, really good generally with expat lending. I want to have a particular process where the lender is ANZ, and when the client lives overseas, right? Or it could be lender rebate, guarantor loan, something like that. When the lender is ANZ and the client lives overseas, and maybe if it's a purchase, we then trigger this workflow. If those three things do not exist, or two of the things don't exist, then don't trigger the workflow. That allows you to build a workflow just for your clients to live abroad, if you do a lot of that, to make sure that every time a deal moves and a doc's issued, the correct process is followed. Again, we provide a lot of default workflow out of the box for you, so you're not starting from scratch. Just trying to show you the sort of power that you can, the sort of power the workflow engine has here. And just for completeness, I'll just show you one more example of that. So there's a workflow that would come out of the box for the lender rebates. The workflow looks like this: trigger it when it moves into settlement, but only when there's a lender rebate on the deal. The outcome we want, of course, is when there's a lender rebate, we want to make sure the client gets paid that rebate. So there's a task created to confirm that the lender rebate's been paid. Lender rebate's been paid. Task created, you can assign it whoever you like. Task created to follow up that the rebate's been paid, and then it's due in 30 days. Right, so it'll create the task immediately, but it'll set a due date for 30 days. In 30 days, it'll pop into your team's task list, and once they mark that as complete, because it has been paid, we then send an email to the client to say that the rebate has been paid by the incoming lender. So a simple example of automating, it'll come out of the box for you, so you don't need to create it yourself, but a simple example of how you can manage those that 20% edge cases, or 20% that difference that applies from one deal to the next. Craig here, Product Manager at Broker Engine. Thanks for watching this video on workflow. If you have any questions or feedback, or would like to check out a full demo of Broker Engine, please jump onto brokerengine.com.au. Bye for now.